All right. And welcome to the Extraordinary Lovers Masterclass
Masterclass.
with Laurie Handlers and Michael Gibson. And by the way, if you don't know who Laurie Handlers is, this
He's
is
going to
Laurie
tell
Handlers.
you. He's going to tell you who I am.
We like to introduce each other. So we think it's kind of fun. So um, this woman is an award-winning director, filmmaker, producer, all the things, and star of multiple award-winning films. She's also the author of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, Sex and Happiness, The Tantric Laws of Intimacy. She is a world-renowned Tantra teacher. I got to meet her about 5.5 years ago, and she said to me, you know something, I'm someone who will disrupt your life. And I got to tell you, Laurie Handlers has disrupted my life
I kept my word.
as she has disrupted so many other lives as well.
I love
and
it.
for the better, really for the better. So please help me welcome to our masterclass, Ms. Laurie Handlers.
Thank you so much. And this is Michael Gibson, my partner. And we met 5.5 years ago. He is a former geek of computers, things like that, technology. He's a network engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And although he's not doing that anymore, he's now just coaching and teaching courses about extraordinary love and other courses that have to do with things like Tantra and
Mm-hmm.
sex and happiness.
Yeah.
And he's still a nerd. That's why he can speak about extraordinary love, because he does what nerds do. He actually Googles everything and finds out about it and learns about it that way, and then puts everything into practice. So he's like a mad scientist.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's hear it from Michael Gibson.
Thank you so much, everybody. So the topic that we chose today is, it's a weighty one, like it's a big one, right? If you think about what does it take to get from ordinary to extraordinary, and really it's just you got to add a little extra. So there are some extra things that you can do to your relating that will increase the value of your experience by 10, maybe even 100-fold. Hey, we've got the Pearsons on. Hello, welcome. It's so good to see you. We've got friends on here. We've got people I've not seen before. And we've just an amazing group of people. So we're so thankful that you're here today.
Right.
Yeah. So again, taking your love from ordinary
to extraordinary requires some thought. It requires connecting. It requires considering what's extraordinary almost in every moment. What would make this moment extraordinary, different from ordinary? Yeah.
Yeah. So in this moment, because really all you have is the present, right? One of the important things to make sure that, things are not getting missed, and this is extraordinary, is to be present, to be in the moment. And so one of the things that Laurie and I teach, we most of what we teach is a tantric based way of moving through these methods and modalities. And if you've been around us long enough, you realize that we're usually going to get you to breathe, make sound, and move. And Laurie teaches that that's Tantra. So
yeah, you have to do that. If you're not embodied, there's no point in even trying to be an extraordinary lover. So really it all starts with breath, sound, and movement. That's what gets us into our bodies.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So there's some things that you can add into your relationship that will definitely change and make it and enhance it and make it extraordinary. And one of those things is breath, sound, and movement. It's Tantra. That's not what we're going to talk about today, but we are going to use Tantra in some of what we do. So the first thing we want to talk about is really what are the 3 ways to make your extraordinary love or your ordinary love extraordinary? And one of the first ways, and this is something Laurie teaches in one of her other programs, and that is to know yourself, to know exactly what turns you on.
So how do you find that out? I mean, how do you know what turns you on? It's not this. There might be, look, this is a very big, your brain is a very big sex organ. It really, really is. Like what you think about, what you fantasize about is a tremendous turn on. But beyond that, you have to know your body. So we give you homework, which has to do with self-pleasuring, so that you know, and then you have permission. You have permission. You actually have a homework assignment to to find out what turns you on. You have to turn yourself on.
Yeah.
And you have to turn yourself on more than once. You have to turn yourself on repeatedly to be able to communicate to somebody, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is how I like to be touched, this is the pressure, this is the speed, this is the kind of touch that I want.
Yeah, the firmness, the lightness, all of the things that you would want somebody else. This is what we advocate for. All the ways that you would want somebody else to just intuitively know how to touch you. You touch yourself that way first.
And then you tell them.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. One of the things we work with, we're not going to work with it today, but we're going to tell you this, is how to not take it personally when somebody tells you what they like, and as opposed to what you did.
Right.
So like if you touch me a certain way and it was too fast, I'm just going to say too fast because I see a lot of men and women on this call. So I'm assuming right now that we're talking to pretty hetero couples. So what women say to me the most over years, over 20 years of what I say to women, what do you want? And they say, we want men to slow down. So if a woman tells a man, honey, could you go a little slower? There's a chance that he's going to get an attitude.
He'll, like most of the time in the past, I would contract. I'd be like, what are you talking about? I know what I'm doing, that kind of thing.
Sure you do.
Right. And she's just like, oh, slow down, slow down. And so we have a bit of a reaction to that because of, I think there's a cultural norm out there
that men are supposed to know.
We're just supposed to know. It's ordinary for men to know. And that's what, or it's common at least. And we found that a lot when discussing this with men and women, because women say, well, isn't he supposed to know? And just assume that he does.
I thought they knew.
And then men, we're supposed to know too. Like we have it that this is something I got locked down. It's not a problem. So what's funny about that is, here's the statistics. We really don't know. And the statistics are pretty bad. So I'll tell you what, I asked, 300 men and women, of all the times they've ever had a top level 10 experience, sexually, of all the times they ever had that happen, what was the percentage of times what was a percentage of times that had occurred? So let me say it this way. Of all the times you've ever had sex, what percentage of those times were like a level 10 out of this world, mind-blowing sex? And so the men came back and they said on average about 30%. Men were like, about 30% of the time, women are blowing my mind.
It's rocking.
I was like, okay, 30%, that's not that real high. And then I asked the women and I said, what was yours? And they came back on average 2%.
2%.
So
someone's not communicating.
On average, we've got a big, huge gap here, right? So Laurie and I are here to change. Well,
we want to change
the gap.
We want you to have like the best. Not only do we want you to have the best sex, we want you to have the best relating possible. We don't want you to have to guess at it. We want you to be able to really take excitement and joy and pleasure in the fact that you're relating to someone.
Yeah. And isn't it true though? You say all the time, pleasure is your birthright.
Yes, it is. And
I love that saying. I got it from Laurie and I've stolen it since. And now I say it all the time. Pleasure is your birthright. I mean, from the moment that XX and XY was determined in your life, you became a sexual being. And what's even more unique than that, and this is some of the other stuff I like to think about, but the fact that you're sitting here on this screen today, listening to us, that is a 400 quadrillion to 1 chance that you'd be doing that. So you're kind of a miracle when it comes to evolution. Like it's a really big deal that you're here. So not
It
only,
means it's a big deal that you got born, that a
yeah,
sperm fertilized an egg and that you arrived as a result of it.
exactly. That's what I'm
I
trying to say.
mean, because people don't know what you're referring to.
Oh, well, that's what I was trying to
Yeah.
refer to. Thank you for clearing that up. So, so this is what makes us such a great team. Yeah. So again, pleasure is your birthright, right? So here's what we want to do. Let's think about it this way. Let's just say when you self-pleasure, we're going to go there for a moment. When you self-pleasure, how do you self-pleasure? Do you just like get it over with, get it done? Is it just, you're just scratching an itch? Or
you're just doing it because your partner isn't available?
Maybe that.
Or maybe no partner is available?
Maybe that. So lots of reasons to do it, but when you do it, like, how do you do it? What's the result of when you do it? And are you taking your time? Are you noticing things? Are you really spending time with yourself? So my question is, how many times of all the times you've ever diddled yourself, how many times was that a level 10 experience?
Probably not so much either. Probably 2%. Like they say.
It's probably a lot less than that. If we're to be honest with you,
most people hurry up and get it over with. I know women could just take a vibrator, put it in one little spot, and then go zzz, and then it's over.
Guys, we call it,
okay, I can go to sleep now.
Yeah, guys call it rubbing one out. So that's, it's like, what is that? So that's ordinary. Let's talk about what's extraordinary. What if the next time you were to self-pleasure, you were to take a journal with you and a pen or a pencil, and during that session, you set it up like you gave yourself the luxurious experience of actually experiencing all 5 senses, right? Taste, touch, hearing, smell. What's the other one? There's 4.
Taste, touch, hearing, smell. I don't know. I was gonna say.
Here. See.
Oh, seeing.
Sight.
Duh.
She's going sight. I'm sorry, Michaela.
No, I was gonna say intuition.
Michaela's like sight. I'm like, yeah.
I was gonna say intuition.
Well, that's the 6th sense.
Right.
That's the 6th sense.
Okay.
So what would it be like if you were to do that and maybe put out some candles and lower the lights a little bit and put on some Sade and right? And chocolates and you made love to yourself and you brought yourself all the way to a level 10 experience. What if you did that the next time you got together with yourself? And what if you were able to take yourself beyond any place you've ever been before, and at the end of that, you had an experience of yourself that was worth writing down?
Yeah.
Yeah. What if you did that?
Well,
that'd be extraordinary, right?
It would be. And then you could extraordinarily communicate to someone. I found out.
Yeah, you're on
that I like this. I found out that I like this, not that.
Yeah. Well, and
am I jumping ahead?
You're actually right on time, but I thought we were gonna like maybe talk to some people. What would that be like for folks if you were to do that? Maybe put something in the chat and think about just for a moment, how would that feel to you to be able to bring yourself to that place and that space? I can tell you this much, it can do a couple of different things. And these are the things that you should know. Number one, you might find yourself in a deeper connection with yourself. You might find yourself dropping into a place where you've never been before and noticing things. And those things might come up and they might be things that you haven't dealt with in a long time. Like shame, like guilt, like trauma.
Like I'm not supposed to touch myself and bring myself there.
Yeah.
Or surprise. Yeah.
Like joy.
Wow, I can actually do this for myself. Maybe I don't need another person like I thought I did.
Right.
Or maybe I do. I want to go there with somebody else. Sorry, that is mine.
Guilty.
thought I turned everything off. I did, but I had an alarm. I guess I thought I was taking a nap.
No, but you're on a roll right now. What you're saying is so good.
Yeah, like so for me, I mean, I know like when I moved to Arizona, this is before I met you. I went on a dating site. I went on a couple of dating sites and I met 100 men.
Wow.
No less than 100 men. It was about a year's worth of like meeting men. I would meet them 3 a day. I mean, and I would just go, oh no, I would just say to them, oh, you are not at all comfortable with me. I mean, it would take a lot. It takes a lot of men to be comfortable with me.
It does.
And anyway, I didn't meet anyone. And I thought to myself, well, there's going to be a long dry period here. There's going to be no time with anyone. And I just better take myself where I want someone to take me.
Yeah.
And so I did. And that was such a great experience because I took myself to peak after peak after peak of orgasms. And I took myself to some peak ones.
Yeah.
And then I became so much more clear about what I needed to say to someone.
Yeah.
And then eventually I met you. And I said it.
You did.
So
yeah, you gave me. I took a primer. It was great. So once you do that, and you've got this, and like I said, you may have all these experiences, and one of the things that I would like you to do is, as you have those experiences, write them down, put them into a journal of some kind.
I wrote it in a new book I'm writing.
Yeah. That's right. So you actually have this something to look back on, and also the things that you noticed that came up, not just in your pleasure, but also in your emotions, and the other ways that you find yourself being an experience of being a human. All the ways, your thoughts, the way where you go when you're having that experience, and anything else that we talked about, guilt, shame, or joy. Or just breaking down in love and having the love of your own self well up in you, and you begin to get into tears. I've had this experience. So that's an extraordinary way to turn your love life with yourself from ordinary to extraordinary. Well, once you've done that, here's the joy of this. You can then share that, as Laurie did, with your partner. So this is the second way that you can really make this, you can really turn your ordinary love into extraordinary love. And this is kind of communication, but really it goes deeper than that. It's
commitment.
It's actively allowing another person into your secret world.
See, I look at it like that. And I also look at it as commitment, like it's commitment to myself to not settle for what I don't want.
Yeah.
Like lots of people settle in their life with someone for mediocre sex and mediocre communication for fear. They don't want to rock the boat. They're too invested. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of things that they have together. So they sometimes they settle. So when I say commitment, I mean commitment to self. Like I made a commitment to myself that I would tell you. You weren't in my future that I knew of then,
right?
But I would tell someone about what I like, so I didn't have to settle anymore. It's just lucky that you came along.
I'm just going to say it out. I'm just going to say it out loud. You're kind of brilliant that way. You really are. Yeah, this is really a big part of being able to actually have an amazing sex life. It's like epic sex life where you're giving the details. It's almost like I think one of the things that we're afraid of is to go there with each other. And so sometimes, and what you and I did was we call it certifying each other.
That's right. We certified each other in how to touch.
Yeah.
And everything else.
So Laurie certified me and I certified her. And you might be wondering, what exactly do you mean by certify?
We told each other how we liked all the sex acts, everything that we liked.
We did
The
a little
whole
more than
menu.
that. Yeah, we showed each other.
Oh yeah, we did that too.
So so here's one of the ways that you can communicate really in an extraordinary way, and it, like a picture is worth 1,000 words, correct? If you do it this way, you may find yourself in a whole new realm. Okay. So what Laurie and I did was we agreed to one night to self-pleasure in front of the other without interaction other than just watching. And so I got to be the observer, and she self-pleasured, and I watched intently everything she did to pleasure herself.
And then he wrote it all down.
And
That's just because I told you he's a nerd.
I kept notes.
So he did that. I didn't write the notes down on him, but he wrote he wrote notes down on me.
So she showed me, like with her own hands, what it felt like for her to really experience pleasure. And the level of pleasure that I saw was like, wow, I was amazed. And so this is a recommendation. The second way to be able to communicate your desire without losing the fire is to actually become certified with each other on how to satisfy each other. And you want to bring yourself. So in this exercise,
I just want to,
yeah,
I just have to interrupt you for
sure,
a second.
Go ahead.
I also certified him on how to put the dishes in my dishwasher.
I'm one of those.
I just want to, I just want to tell you that there's more things to certify a partner on than sex.
Sure.
But it really comes down to almost everything. If you have a preference, which I know you do sexually, but most people do about their dishwasher. They have it about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Certify the person in everything that you have a preference about.
That's right.
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, it's okay, because I certify, like I have a way of folding towels that's different from the way you fold it. I have to certify her on that. So so that's a good point. And it's actually it changes things so much in the dynamic of the relationship, because now your communication is way bigger than just talking about what you like. Like I could say, I like to be tied up and spanked. That's one way of communicating.
You heard it here.
Another way is to actually get tied up and get spanked and instruct her on what feels good, what's too hard, what's too light, all of the things that go along with that. So this becomes a communication method that really works, and it's instructive to the point where like you'll never forget it.
So we call it certifying.
Yeah, you get certified. So all the hot ways that she likes to be touched, I want to touch her that way. Well, all the hot ways I want to be touched,
I want to touch you that way.
Yeah. I love you.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm happy.
Yeah, me too. So with all that in mind, I'd like you to think about a thing, maybe a private, fantasy that you might have that you've never told anybody, much less your partner. Fantasy having to do with anything. And if that's a fantasy you're afraid to share with your partner, that's okay. But you might want to actually perform that fantasy on yourself first. So, and then if it goes well, maybe show your partner how to do that fantasy.
That's assuming it doesn't involve the whole fire station or just like
Okay, that's another masterclass.
I don't know. My head just went to like the fire station.
Fire station, huh?
Yeah.
Not the football team?
No.
No? Okay. The fire station. I guess firefighters are hotter than
definitely hotter
football
than football players. No question.
All right.
Hands down. One saves lives. The others just chase a ball around a stadium.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. So the last thing that we want to talk about here in the 3 ways to turn your ordinary love into extraordinary love is to know what to do when one of you wants sex and the other doesn't. I don't know about you. Have any of you ever had that experience? You can raise your hands. You can put it in the chat.
They're waving.
Everybody's raising their hands. They're like, yeah, for sure. So that's a common thing in relationships. We're not always hungry at the same time. Isn't that true?
Yes, that's true for almost everything.
Yeah. So
What does that say?
Very common.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Sujit. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Absolutely. Probably one of the things that I think I hear more than anything else. Well, what if they don't want to? And and I'm trying everything I can.
Well, first of all, we think that seduction
Is
is
a
a
team
team
sport.
sport. We like it as a sport better than football.
And you're playing the game to win. You both get to win, by the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, seduction is a team sport. Why don't you say a little bit about that, and then also, yeah, just say a little bit about how that works.
There's a lot of things. I have a lot to say on this subject. First, usually one person is more the seductor or seductress than the other. It's usually one person has a bigger appetite than the other. That's just normal. That's the way things are. However, we think that it shouldn't always be stuck with one person, that person shouldn't be always the person to ask. That person shouldn't always be the person that has to make the moves. So we like seduction to be a team sport, and we instruct on that in our course. We like it to be more equal, more equalized. So we also have lots of formulas like seduction inside, before, inside the bedroom, and then after. So there's before, which isn't in the bedroom, there's in the bedroom, and then there's after, which sets the scene for the next time. So there's a lot, we have some formulas about that, but also, it's important to have communication about this, because if one person is on the giving end all the time, like, please have sex with me, I want to have sex with you, I make the moves, and the other person is really constantly a no, the person who's asking starts to lose self-esteem. And I think that if you love someone, you don't really want them to lose self-esteem. You don't want that to happen. I mean, I don't want you to lose self-esteem over anything. Yeah. I mean, I know if you do, it's like your issue. But on the other hand, I don't want to really do anything that adds to that. So there needs to be a big conversation about what's in the way. And recently we had something, so we're going to talk about it a little bit because it's real for us. We're like two people who are like madly in love with each other, and we love having sex. And can I talk about it?
Yes, please do.
So recently, Michael went through what I call a dark night of the soul. And Michael is a person, I don't think he's different from all men this way. I think men are more like this than women. He thought he was going through it by himself. Like, he didn't think it would affect me, or that it had anything to do with me. And he went through it. He was like sort of in his cave, locked in a room, going through whatever he was going through. I don't know exactly what he was going through because I wasn't there, and he wasn't communicating.
I didn't write any of that stuff down, by the way.
Anyway, he didn't write anything down, and for days he didn't speak. And so that affected me terribly. It affected it affected me on many layers. It affected me. I got hurt by it. I'm not saying he tried to hurt me. I used it as an occasion to hurt. So I was hurt, and I went into some fear fantasies about it, like things like, oh, I'm losing him. Things like, oh, did I make the right choice?
Am I the right guy?
Yeah, like what's going on here? Anyway, all the things that a person can make up, because our minds, the monkey mind loves to go crazy about things like this, and mine did. Anyway, we came back together. He's feeling a whole lot better. It had nothing to do with me at all, but nonetheless, him coming back together with me and me feeling so great about that, something in my body was shut down. I mean, I couldn't even explain it. And the truth is, we needed to have a whole big conversation about it.
We had a heart to heart.
And we needed to call each other like into showing up. Now I had to call him into showing up and say, you're not alone when you go through these things.
Mm-hmm.
He had to call me into showing up by saying, hey, you're Laurie Handlers. You know how to get over this quickly. You can just step right back into your sexuality. Who are you anyway? And I had to go, you're right. I'm Laurie Handlers. I mean, I had to do that. I had to remember who I was. I'm going to tell you that it invoked a level of forgiveness in me that didn't really have anything to do with him. It had to do with past traumas and whatever hurts I've experienced at my own hands in my life prior. I had to invoke, because something had been traumatized by him taking the space he needed and not communicating. Something in me was traumatized. It was like I was frozen, and I'm not really a freeze person. I'm more of a fight person. When there's fight, flight, or freeze, I'm like, fight. I'm going to stand here and fight. And this was not fighting. There was nothing to fight over. I was kind of frozen. And I had to really dig deep in myself and invoke a forgiveness which backed it up to nothing is wrong. Nothing was ever wrong. There is no trauma here that got triggered. And I actually did that. And I didn't have a formula for it. It's just like when he said to me, I'm asking you to show up. That was like throwing down a gauntlet. I had to show up. And how was I going to do that? I don't know. But in a meditation, I got to forgive. Forgiveness is the key here. But a forgiveness, Laurie, like you've never known before.
Yeah. Well, and what she's speaking to is so many relationships have this trauma inside of them, and it may not be anything like what we're talking about. It may be completely different, but there may be something there.
It could come from anywhere.
If it's there and it feels like that there is this this inability to move smoothly or easily into just enjoying each other's sexual presence, having fun together. Right before I went through that horrible thing that I went through, we were like getting it on and having fun. And
I mean, my friends think we're like bunnies. They think we're crazy.
We were.
And then we were like nothing.
Yeah.
And we were trying to figure out who we were. Like, who is this? Who is this? Like, what happened to us? Where did we go? And I was I got an old trauma just shut me down.
And I got clear about what I had gone through and the impact that I had had on her. And I said, I apologized. And you had forgiven me, but there was still this block. We still weren't touching each other. We still weren't having sex. And I was like, okay, baby, let's get back to the way things were, but better.
And I was like, I don't know if I can.
She was like, no, I don't know if I can.
I don't know if I can. I want to, but I'm not able to.
Yeah.
And then I had to go inside myself and say, what is it? Because I knew it wasn't about you at all.
Yeah.
So what we're saying here is
there may be a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah, there might be a conversation that says, one, okay, we have different appetites. Let's look at that and let's see what we can do to meet somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. That's one conversation. That's kind of a easier conversation to have.
Right.
Then there's the underneath conversations of what happened to you in your life? What could I be triggering and not even know that I'm triggering? And you're like, nope. Let's watch a movie instead. Oh, my hair's dirty. Isn't that what women used to say to men?
I can't go on a
date. My hair's dirty. Like what? Yeah. Whatever. I have a headache.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you, if you have a headache, that the best way to alleviate a headache is to have sex, because endorphins, dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin all relieve headache.
That's right.
So if you have a headache, that's like not a good excuse. That's an excuse to want to have sex.
Yeah, and if I were an MD and you had a headache, I would prescribe an orgasm. You need an orgasm. You ever met
That'll
somebody?
be $250.
You ever met somebody and they're just like, they had just like the sour look on them, and you think to yourself, man, they need to get laid.
Yes, I know that many people think that. I've been around those conversations. Sometimes that's true.
Right. Well, so let's wrap this part up really powerfully. And that is to say that there are a couple of things to look at when you're talking about, you're not on the same schedule sexually. And I just want you to consider this, and that is, you might not be hungry, but if it's dessert, do you pass up dessert?
I never pass up chocolate.
I never pass up dessert.
Ever.
Yeah. So maybe it's not a meal. Maybe it's, more like a chocolate souffle or something like that, like something yummy.
Yeah. I could say, what could I do to seduce you? I put chocolate on my body.
Yeah. Chocolate and honey, a little whipped cream might work. Yeah. Now I'm hungry all of a sudden. So think of it in terms of, well, maybe there's something else to be done. And so this is something Laurie and I like, I'll tell her, I'll say, I want you. I want to put my hands all over you. I want to feel you. I want to touch you. I want you to feel me. I want to be connected to you. And I'm not going to say it. I want to make love to you in a very vigorous and and sometimes Laurie might be like, that sounds great, but right now I'm tired, and maybe you could hold me for a while. And maybe you can just.
So that's called a redirect.
That's a redirect. It's kind of like renegotiating the experience. And something, I'm not a no to that. I don't think I've ever been a no to that. And I would be a no. I would be not real happy if she was like, not right now. Okay, why don't you go watch TV or something? That would not feel good at all.
No, I redirect. I say, or I say, I can't right now. How about at such and such a time, or on such and such tomorrow?
Right. And we'll connect in some way. And
we also make dates. So in case you don't know, and you've not made dates with each other, even though you might not be dating anymore, you should make dates.
Yeah.
Because I just have to go back to this.
Go ahead.
I know that you would make a business meeting because your business is really important to you. So you would make a business meeting on the phone, you would make a business meeting over Zoom, or you might make a business meeting in person because you wouldn't want to miss business. Well, this is the business of relating. So making a date is really crucial.
Absolutely.
To relating, to have an expectation like, yeah, we're going to get together tomorrow night. And to know that we are. And it doesn't, and those of you who think that it takes the spontaneity out of it, so have a spontaneous one too. Have a quickie or do something spontaneous that gets the two of you together, but also have dates.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything else that you want to add to this?
Well, I think that people are probably thinking you and I are really great communicators, and they're not as good communicators as us. A lot of times people say that to us.
Really?
They say, oh yeah, easy for Laurie and Michael to say. And I want to say that I don't think anything, we're speaking English. And we're really saying the things to each other. We're really saying the things. Now, something that happens in our course is that we teach you how to not take it personally when someone says these kinds of things to you, how to actually receive the communication that's coming your way. Right. We know that I'm voicing what's an objection for some people. Well, we're not you. We don't communicate the way you do. Well, we teach you how to do that because we know that not everybody has such fluency in communicating with each other. And so we do teach you how to negotiate this and how to communicate with each other because you need communication. All of this is based on communication. Of course, we also teach you about touch because that's so important too.
Absolutely.
I'm giving away, like I'm skipping ahead, I know. So I'm going to I'm going to be quiet.
Well, and I love you for that. it's communication is something that we also struggle with, and we have found that when we stick to the program, like what we teach, right, then it's easier. When we don't, because we fall prey to everything you fall prey to, we're human beings. We don't do certain things to make sure that our communication's landing correctly and all the other things. And we fight, and that turns into a fight.
But we don't really fight.
We don't do that anymore.
We call each other out. We just
Yeah.
go, this is ordinary. We're not fighting.
Right. Yeah. So communication is a huge part of this. And we want you to get it on.
Well,
like, really.
Listen, the bottom line is this. This is what, there's a person on this call right now who told us this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, the happier you are inside, the more you take responsibility for your own feelings, the more you take responsibility for yourself and have really great, loving communication and love, the more at peace you are, the more peace there is in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
The less suffering you add to the world, the better the world is. The world has plenty of suffering. It doesn't need yours. It doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
It does not need any more suffering. It doesn't need any more war. So the more at peace you are inside yourself, and then with your partner or partners, the better the world is.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, absolutely. So
thank you. You know who you are, who said that to me this morning.
Yeah, that handsome guy.
Yeah.
So we want to share with you we mentioned this, I think, a couple of times today, that we do have a program. Our program is called the Extraordinary Lovers Experience. It's typically a weekend experience. And we have one coming up November 7th and 8th, and we want to invite you to that. It's 2 full days of immersion. What you leave with is having experienced or really having an experience of self-love, love of your partner, and then love that manifests. And we teach you how to take the love that you've created and turn it into something absolutely unrecognizable. So you get to learn about fearless communication. There's lots of these different skills that we offer you. You get the ability to return to love and to stay in love. And then finally, we take you through a pretty hot class on exquisite touch and how to pleasure your partner and make sex epic. So that's
over and over and over again. So it doesn't have to be, it can be a 7 to 10 on a 10 scale, nothing less.
Each and every time.
Each and every time.
Yeah. So what we did was, we've done this a number of times. After, we had to stop traveling, we actually had a world tour planned. And we were going to everywhere, really. And then
Right.
as everybody knows, COVID hit, and we had to really pivot. We had to shift what we were doing and try to figure out a way, how do we actually
How
continue
can we do this online?
to reach people? And so this experience has been extraordinary for a lot of people. In fact, we have graduates on this call today.
Yeah.
So
Yay.
yeah, hello. And we love you both. And they've even been through a journey. And one of the things that a lot of people were asking us when they went through the first program was, what else is there? What else is there? And so Laurie and I put together this thing called a journey. And the journey was great, but we felt like it needed to be connected and closer to the weekend. So what we did was we created the weekend followed by 4 weekly calls. So it's a journey inside of the experience. You start off with the experience, and then 4 weeks.
On the 2 days, right?
Right, on those 2 days on the weekend, and then 4 days or 4 weekly calls, 90 minutes.
Calls.
They're group calls, 90 minutes each, and they're called integration meetings. And we just found that the immersive programs, they lack an important component, and that is that they aren't sticky. Sometimes you lose what you don't use, right? So we added these calls to deepen the practices and to create accountability and really provide support for your transformation. Because this is our first run, we haven't done this before like this, and we really want to make it affordable to everybody.
You mean in this form?
In this form,
yeah.
The way that we're doing it as described, we're cutting the cost to $797 if you pay in full. And so all you need to do, if you're interested in this, and this sounds like something that you'd like to move your relationship forward with, and you would entrust that to us to really be able to share this with you, you can go to online.extraordinarylovers.com to find out more. It has all the details there, and to register. And so we want to make sure that this is available for people. Some of what people are saying about the Extraordinary Lovers experience, people got guidance in having difficult communications, mapping the erogenous zones. Remember, I talked about the exquisite touch part. They learned how to dance in the unknown and practice presence, and loved having the opportunity and ability to go through this and more with her beloved, which took her deeper into her relationship, and then adding new awareness on how to connect deeper. That's Liz. And then another one of our
Liz is going to be joining us.
Yeah, she's
going to be coaching in this program.
She is one of our coaches.
This person will be, the person who said that will be joining us in this journey.
And then Jasmine from New York, she said she loved the tools I gained that are leading me to wild upgrades in my intimacy, and holy crap, my pleasure threshold is expanding like a mofo. Love Jasmine. And then we had another one. After being together for 59 years, I thought I was quite well versed in how to make love to my wife. And after a mind-blowing 3-hour lovemaking session this morning, I thought I'd give you an update. So thank you for a great workshop. Learned so much, and so grateful for your teaching. Happy camper. Yeah, so this is what people are saying. And I think, well, we have people on the call today that, and I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, you can't.
I don't want to do that. But if you were to ask them, I think they might have some good things to say. Is there a thumbs up for that? Well, listen, I think we're going to wrap it up here. And we thank you for being here with us. We had so much fun sharing with you.
But I thought of something. This is, I want you to know why we're doing this. You know, I think you know this. What I'm going to say is like obvious, but we're going to put it in a context. And that is, we feel that couples are an endangered species.
Yeah, definitely.
There are so many new paradigm relating these days, which, you know, we're part of that, but we feel like people who are in pairs, even if you're in poly groups, we think that the communication is lacking. Mm-hmm. We feel the touch is lacking. There's so much that when people come together, we didn't learn about in school, and we should have. So we're doing this because so many people have come to us and said, you know, how do you do it? How do we do it? Please help us. What can we do? So, yeah. So that's where it comes from. And so we don't want you to go there. We don't want you to go the same route as turtles.
Turtles?
Yeah, weren't turtles on the endangered species?
They are on, yeah, they were, yeah.
Yeah, so we don't want you to go like that. Or tigers, whatever.
Or any endangered species
We don't want you to go any endangered species. We want you to survive and thrive. We want you to, you know, Michael has this expression that he doesn't go anywhere where he's tolerated. He goes where he's celebrated. And so we celebrate each other. I think that's obvious anyway when you see us. So we want you to be the same way, but not like us in your version of it. So,
well, I wish I could play Sade right now as we go out, but I can't. But it was so good seeing you. This is no ordinary love. No ordinary love. That's the best I got.
That's great, Michael. You don't look anything like her.
Neither do I. It's terrible. We love you guys. I'm going to go ahead and put this up real quick again so you can see it. You'll know where to go.
And if any questions come up later when we're finished with this, then please write to us. We're happy to answer your questions.
Yeah, so thank you so much for being here, everybody. Once again, Laurie Handlers, Michael Gibson, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.